Hi, this is Sanjay Gangal from EDA CAFE. I'm here with Martin Garcia, Sales Manager at JBC Tools. Hello, Martin.
Hi, how are you doing, Sanjay?
I'm doing great. How's the show been going for you?
Showing's been going very well. We have a lot of traffic right now because I guess for the lunches died down a little bit, but in the morning was very, very busy.
So what is your role in JBC, Martin?
My role is in JBC. What I do is I go travel with all the sales manager, and I give technical support. If there's any solderability issues or any difficult, challenging boards, I like to go in and show my expertise over 25 years in experience in the electronic field.
Okay, and do you have IPC certification?
That's correct. I'm a CIT, I'm an IPC certified trainer, which I can certify, and other CIS, which is certified IPC specialist. Okay, that is correct.
And why is it important to have the IPC certification?
It is very important, especially in the electronic field, to very know about what classes are you dealing with. There's standards for Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3, and it's very important how to navigate the books of IPC and knowing to make a decision right there and then.
Okay. And what is the perfect recipe for soldering?
The perfect recipe is soldering. It's a little bit of everything. You got to choose the right alloy, the right metals, the right flux core inside your solder, the right temperature, the right equipment, soldering equipment, the right tip, and you have to have good habits to be able to solder and make a good target solder connection. Yes.
Okay. And how can you avoid a cold solder joint?
To avoid a cold solder joint, you make sure that you have enough heat, you're on enough dwell time, which is the right amount of time that you spend on the solder joint. Make sure your flux, it's not a weak flux. Make sure the flux is fairly new, that is not out of date. Make sure you don't have an oxidized tip, and as well make sure your parts are all, clean of oxidation.
Okay. And how do you handle a solder joint with a ground plane?
Well, the solder joint with the ground plane, I like to say I will handle with with three T's. T number one is the tip size. So if you have a smaller tip with a smaller heating element, you want to go to a bigger heating element. Another T will be time. It's called the dwell time. Instead of spending a little bit of time on the solder connection, you just spend a little bit of more time on the solder connection to make sure the solder can flow. And the last one is to choose the larger tip. The tip size, the larger the tip, the larger the heating element that you have. And that way you have a nice solder connection instead of a cold solder connection. Okay.
Now, how do you know when you have a good solder joint?
When you have, like I said, if with the solder does not flow correctly, or you do the opposite of what I'd explained, is you spend a lot less dwell time, you don't have enough heat, you have your tips is oxidized, or your part is contaminated. That's how you know you have a cold solder connection.
So tell us also about JBC Tools, the company itself. What does the company do?
The company JBC has been in business over 80 years. They specialize only in soldering equipment as well as rework equipment. They don't do as nothing else. It's just for soldering means. Like I said, they have a nice group of engineers and R&D that they develop this new soldering equipment for all the customer needs.
Okay. And can you show us some of the machines that you have back here?
Here is our setup of infrared preheater, and then we have a setup of our IC extractor, which it has a different amount of funnels for you to extract. And here, when you go around, when you use your hot air machine, you go around the area with the right temperature. When the solder becomes liquid, it will be ready and it will lift automatically the component, chip component. This other new equipment that we have here is our solder feeder without the soldering iron. You can program it here, so the length of the time that you want, or the millimeters that you want for it, each solder joint to be consistent and to be soldering, having good solder application. And if you can see, if I press here, it's set on 30 millimeters, and the solder is feeding out until you reach that 30 millimeters. What I'm going to be explaining here is this new solder pot right here is used for tinning or wires like stranded wire that we have here, or you can actually use it as tinning component for through-hole components. And as well, it can be connected to any of the other handles that we have except the 210 handles. And if you see right here, we also have our new fume extractor. And if you see, if I place this solder here with the flux core, you can see that it is all the fumes and the smoke. It is going inside our fume extractor.
Thank you so much, Martin, for showing us all of these demos. What is the best way for people to find out more about JBC tools on the internet?
The best way, if they go to our website, which is www.jbctools.com, you can find all the variety of our equipment, soldering or rework or cartridges tips as well.
Check out jbctools.com for a lot more information about JBC Tools products. Thank you very much, Martin, for coming over to talk to us. Have a great show.
Thank you very much, Sanjay.
Thank you. This is Sanjay Gangal from EDA CAFE.